Imagine this. You're at a hospital, surrounded by the hum of medical equipment, the soft chatter of doctors and nurses, and the scent of antiseptic in the air. It's just another ordinary day, until something happens that no one could have ever predicted. Now picture this. Out of nowhere, an unexpected visitor bursts through the doors. A massive, unexpected visitor. A horse. Yes, you heard that right. A horse, barging into the hospital causing chaos. A horse, with no apparent reason, racing through the building, making its way through the corridors like it owned the place. What was it doing there? And how could it possibly change the course of a life-or-death decision? This wasn't just a random act. No, this horse had a mission, and that mission was about to change everything, forever. Stick around, because the shocking truth will unfold right before your eyes. Born prematurely, this tiny baby faced unimaginable challenges from the moment they entered the world. Weighing just over a pound, the doctors were honest with the parents from the start. The chances of survival were slim. It was a roller coaster ride of hope and despair as the fragile little one fought for each breath, each heartbeat. The medical staff did everything they could, but it seemed like the odds were stacked against them. The baby spent days, then weeks, in the neonatal intensive care unit, hooked up to machines, surrounded by monitors that beeped in time with their fragile life. The medical team had their hands full, but there was only so much they could do. After all the tests, after all the interventions, the situation remained dire. And then, the doctors made the unimaginable recommendation that the baby's life support should be turned off. The parents were told that there was no hope left. The decision was heartbreaking. It was a moment that no parent should ever face, the possibility of losing their child, the weight of the decision hanging heavy in the air. But the parents couldn't give up. Not yet. They held on to a sliver of hope, despite the doctor's grim prognosis. They prayed, they believed, and they made a decision that would change everything, even though they didn't know it yet. But just as the situation seemed to reach its lowest point, something unexpected happened. It was a typical morning at the hospital, with staff going through their rounds and patients receiving care. The day felt like every other. That is, until the sound of hooves echoed through the parking lot. At first, it was subtle, a distant noise that no one thought much of. But then it grew louder. Within moments, a horse, of all things, charged through the hospital's main entrance. It wasn't something anyone had prepared for. Nurses and doctors turned their heads in disbelief as the animal galloped down the hallways, its powerful legs thundering against the hospital floors. The commotion was so sudden, so wild, that no one knew what to make of it. Security rushed to intercept it, but the horse had other plans. It weaved around them effortlessly, continuing its unexpected journey through the building. People scrambled to get out of the way. Some were frozen in shock, while others tried to contain the situation. The animal's presence was so out of place, yet its urgency seemed impossible to ignore. It wasn't just a random act. It was as if the horse had a purpose. No one could explain it, but the horse didn't stop. It seemed drawn to something, as if it knew exactly where it needed to go. And it wasn't long before the staff realized that this was no accident. Something extraordinary was about to unfold. As the horse made its way through the corridors, it finally came to a halt outside the room where the baby was. It was as if it had found its destination. The baby's parents, who had been sitting by their child's side, looked up in shock. They couldn't believe their eyes. How could a horse be here, in the heart of the hospital? And yet, there it was, standing calmly just outside the room. The staff, just as bewildered as the parents, tried to make sense of what was happening. But as they watched the horse, something strange began to unfold. The baby, who had been barely holding on, seemed to react in a way no one expected. The monitors, which had been showing concerning signs, began to stabilize. The baby's heart rate, once erratic, started to level out. The oxygen levels, which had been dangerously low, began to improve. It was as if the presence of the horse had a calming effect on the child, an energy that no one could quite explain. The parents, too, noticed it. For the first time in weeks, they felt a sense of peace, a spark of hope they hadn't felt in days. The doctors, still trying to process the situation, observed the baby's progress, stunned by the sudden change. They couldn't explain it, but they weren't about to ignore it either. The baby's condition had improved so drastically that it prompted the medical team to reconsider their previous decision. Could it be possible that this unexpected visitor had somehow played a role in this shift? No one could say for sure, but one thing was clear. Something had changed, and it was something no one could have predicted. As the hours passed, the baby's health continued to improve in ways no one could have anticipated. The doctors, initially skeptical, started to rethink their earlier decisions. The improvements were too significant to ignore. The monitors showed stable readings. The baby, who had been too weak to open their eyes before, was now showing signs of responsiveness. It was nothing short of miraculous. The medical team, still in disbelief, huddled together to discuss the situation. They couldn't deny the sudden change. It was as if something had awakened the baby, and that something was undeniably connected to the presence of the horse. Of course, they couldn't definitively explain it, but they decided to give the baby more time. Time that they had previously thought was no longer available. The parents, still in shock, were filled with a sense of cautious hope. They had been preparing for the worst, but now they could see the possibility of a future for their child. They had been told that there was no hope left, but they were beginning to believe otherwise. With each passing hour, they felt more confident in their decision to continue fighting for their baby. It was a decision that would change everything. The doctors agreed to give the baby another chance, holding off on the difficult decision they had once been so certain about. And with that decision, the baby's journey took an unexpected turn, one that no one could have predicted. The path forward was still uncertain, but for the first time in weeks, there was a genuine sense of possibility. And it all started with the most unlikely of visitors, a horse. Months passed, and the baby's condition continued to improve in ways that astounded everyone involved. The once fragile little one, who had been fighting for their life, was now growing stronger each day. The doctors, who had once given up hope, now marveled at the progress. What was once considered a hopeless case had turned into a story of resilience and survival. The baby was finally well enough to leave the hospital. The parents, overwhelmed with gratitude, couldn't believe how far their child had come. The small bundle of joy they had feared they might lose was now thriving, gaining weight, and developing just like any other child their age. It was a victory that felt almost too good to be true. And through it all, the horse, whose arrival had sparked this unexpected change, remained a part of their lives. The animal, whose presence had seemed so out of place, had become an integral part of the family's story. They had all witnessed something incredible that day, the unexplainable bond between a baby and an unexpected visitor. The horse's impact wasn't just physical, it was emotional and spiritual, something that transcended the realm of logic. It had given the family the strength to keep going when all seemed lost. Now, as they celebrated their child's recovery, they couldn't help but reflect on the chain of events that had led them here. If it weren't for that one improbable moment when the horse walked into the hospital, the outcome might have been very different. But here they were, grateful beyond words, cherishing each moment with their child, and sharing their story as a beacon of hope to others. This family's journey wasn't just about survival. It was about the miracle of unexpected moments, the power of hope, and the belief that sometimes the most unexplainable things can change the course of a life forever. What do you think of this incredible story? Was it just a series of strange coincidences, or could there be something more at play here? Can an unexpected visitor really make such a dramatic difference in someone's life? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Was it the horse's presence that somehow sparked the change, or was it the family's determination and hope that made the difference? This story reminds us that sometimes things happen in life that we just can't explain. Moments that defy all logic, that challenge our understanding of what's possible. But in the end, it's these moments that give us the hope to keep going, even when the odds seem insurmountable. If you found this story as unbelievable as we did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need a little extra hope today. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable, heartwarming stories. You won't want to miss what we have coming next. In our next video, we'll be diving into another unbelievable story, one that will have you questioning everything you thought you knew, so make sure to stay tuned.